Hey friends, welcome back to Hot News. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. Let's get into the Monday edition of stuff. And just in case you didn't know, we always post the sources and timestamps for everything we talk about in Hot News down below. So if there's an article that interests you more than others, be sure to click the timestamps down below. So let's talk about the RTX 30 series because there is some hype-inducing information that's coming out on behalf of Cortex, who released this video. A revolution in graphics is coming over the weekend. So I'll just suggest if you're interested in checking out Cortex videos, go to the link in the video description or check out that card in the top right hand corner. You can watch this full 33-minute breakdown. I'm just going to kind of give you the snippets of everything and try to ease it down into your brain. He detailed how he thinks that the RTX 30 series will feature a traversal coprocessor on the back of the PCB. This would be a dual-sided graphics card. This is one explanation to try to justify why Nvidia is going with this weird dual-sided fan situation with their RTX 30 series cards. So the idea of the traversal coprocessor isn't actually something that's brand new or a brand new idea by Cortex. You can see right here on the screen, this is a patent filed by Nvidia for that very same idea, a coprocessor to work with the original GPU. And you might be wondering yourself, what would they use this for? What do you think? Ray tracing is the whole idea of what they're calling the RTX series cards. The traversal coprocessor could allow them to enable faster ray tracing in games in ways that we haven't seen before, and potentially also theoretically by Cortex could introduce an RTX accelerator card, the likes of a physics card like we've seen before. However, to note, this wouldn't be exactly like a physics card because back with physics came first and then it got integrated into the GPU, whereas Nvidia had RTX enabled into their GPU and now is splitting it off to allow other people to experience ray tracing as well. This will help to line up with rumors that we've heard before with Ampere by itself would enable 4 times better ray tracing performance than what is currently being experienced on Turing and would absolutely slap whatever's coming on the consoles in the face. However, we also don't know what the ray tracing on Big Navi is going to be like, so we still have to hold our horses on RDNA too. But you would think that the RTX 30 series having a traversal coprocessor would be the big news by itself. Well, there's more. Cortex didn't stop there. So based on the fact that Ampere is going to be on a smaller node, he's expecting 25% rasterization on top of pricing, which he, as I've been saying, would not see a price increase. The RTX 3080 coming in at $699, 3080 Ti at $999, which is what Nvidia originally said the 2080 Ti was supposed to cost, with the expected RTX 3090 coming in close to $2,000, which would actually make it cheaper than the current Titan lineup, but then the Titan Ampere being $2,500, which is the exact same price as the Titan right now. So that's kind of what I've been saying all along. I don't expect that Nvidia is going to give us a price increase because they already introduced the price increase with Turing. They made us already pay upfront for the RTX benefit. I don't think we're going to see a second generation in a row where they increase the pricing. There's a whole lot that Nvidia might be embarking upon, but again, take it with a huge grain of salt. This is Cortex's video. He did also express some hesitancy and some stabbing at the wind to try to figure some of this stuff out and just kind of guessing and seeing what could come in the future. But the traversal coprocessor does seem to line up with the fact that Nvidia has been working on this. They've had a patent in place since 2018, so they could have implemented it into Ampere. We might actually see it towards the end of this year, and we might actually see legitimate, good-looking ray trace games that are AAA and not Quake 2 and Minecraft. Not just those. We can still keep those, but more than that. And we might be able to do that in September if the latest leaks of Ampere's launch are anything to go by. September is when Igor's lab is saying that the RTX 30 series should drop. Based on other things we've heard from AMD, this would give them a couple weeks lead time on Big Navi as well as the next gen consoles. Speaking of consoles though, one of the best rated JRPGs of all time, Persona 4 Golden, got announced by Atlas to be on Steam. You can buy Persona 4 Golden for $20 or the digital deluxe edition for $25. According to everything I'm hearing out on the internet, it runs really well at 1080p, 60 FPS. It just performs phenomenally and it's a true port over to the PC, which just boggles my mind because they still haven't released anything on the Switch. Persona is the perfect game to be on the Switch. Why have you not done that yet, Atlas? Please. This is not a PC game. You can put it on the PC, but also the Switch, please. And also the KFC console. Yeah, you heard me right. Also last week, we got the PS5 unveiling, but we also got an unveiling of the KFC console by KFC, which I just don't know. You can obviously see here, they take a bucket of chicken and then they turn it into a gaming console. And it's really hard to know if they're memeing or if this is something serious. They're saying 4K, 120 FPS. They also gave a launch date of November 12th, 2020. What is this? I don't know. Is this an actual console? Is this going to be an Xbox branded thing? Because as you can see here, Xbox commented on the tweet asking if you could lay it sideways. They did also say that PS Colonel Sanders, I Love You is going to be a game on there. What is this going to be? I don't know. KFC Console appears to be something. Is it a legit another console? Probably not. I doubt KFC is getting into the branding on that. However, what it precisely is, we can't say at this point. But it seems like we could precisely say what the launch date of the Ryzen XT processors is going to be. And in case you haven't been following along at home, the XT processors appear to be slightly faster versions of the Ryzen 3000 chips that are currently out there. We're expecting a 3600 XT, 3800 XT, and a 3900 XT. Well, according to Amazon listing dates, as well as a lot of other speculation around the internet, they're going to launch exactly a year from the original Ryzen 3000 lineup, which would be July 7th. Kind of just fits. And what doesn't fit was the report that we had last week that AMD Ryzen processors are dying because of power reporting going undetected by everything and HW Info updating stuff. AMD made a response saying that they're checking into the accuracy of this report, but know that internal verification safeguards are in place and your chips aren't going to die. So why are you so upset about this is the general sense of it, which is kind of how we reported on last week as well. But that's not the only thing AMD's got going on. They apparently have updated their Radeon branding. This is just a little tidbit. They have made their Radeon logo look more like the Ryzen logo or the Ryzen typography. So there you go. Speaking of small little tidbits, ASUS has announced their AI noise cancellation microphone technology that is a USB to 3.5-inch adapter. And they're saying that it's AI and deep learning and does sound processing on the little adapter. Does it work? I don't know. How does it do AI on something that small? Not quite sure. Has ASUS ever come out with anything AI before? It's there. AI noise canceling little doodad adapter. AI mic is what they're calling it. And what I'm calling Computex 2020 is dead because it is. They're canceled officially, not postponed until September. It's just over, which makes sense. Next year, June 1st through the 5th, 2021. As long as there's no Rona, you can bet UFD Tech's going to be at that. And you can bet that there's now going to be wireless charging in your Tesla Model 3 with the US version of the Model 3 now getting Qi charging standardized in the actual Model 3. This was already apparent in the Model 3 and Model Y in China, but not in the US. They've just updated it. And they've additionally brought USB Type-C ports over as well. Thanks, Tesla, for just randomly updating your cars. Thanks, Resident Evil, for a lot of years of scaring. Well, also a lot of copies of scaring. Resident Evil reporting that they've sold over 100 million copies. Obviously, they didn't do a full breakdown, but they said Resident Evil 7 has sold 7.5 million units of that. And the Resident Evil 3 remake sold 2 million copies in 5 days. So they're doing pretty well. And while we're on the topic of games, we talked about last week how Spider-Man Miles Morales was announced for the PS5, and there was some debate over whether or not it was going to be an expansion, a remaster of the PS4 game with added DLC content. One of the reasons for the confusion was because a Sony executive had an interview with The Telegraph and said that it would be a remastered expansion and not a standalone game, which caused Insomniac Games to tweet out that it is indeed a standalone game. So if you hear people saying that it's a remastered expansion, or some people saying it's a standalone game, they read different sources. Insomniac, the game developer, is officially saying, no, this is a full standalone game. There you go. Speaking of a full standalone game, I don't know. Star Wars Squadrons was announced by EA. There's supposed to be an announcement today, but that's happening after we have filmed this episode of Hot News. So I'm not quite sure what's going on, but in case you care about Star Wars Squadrons and you want to see EA destroy that and ruin it, here you go. And it's going to be a lot easier to destroy library books because they're going to be dropped from drones thanks to Alphabet's partnership with local libraries. They're delivering library books from drones. They're putting them in little packages, and kabowie, kids getting cracked on the head with library books. Not in a staged video like this, just in other scenarios. We'll see if that actually shows up, and we'll see if the OnePlus Pods ever show up. However, they are showing up in Android 11 beta. There's a new string name for the OnePlus TWS Pods. There you go. It exists. And what exists is your face. And apparently Facebook is testing Face ID and Touch ID to lock your Messenger app on iOS. This kind of makes sense. Having your messaging app under another layer of protection kind of works. Biometric authentication does make sense. One to unlock your phone, and then one so that nobody else can snoop through your messages. kind of the general idea. I appreciate it. Would you want to have Face ID or Touch ID blocking you from accessing your messages? Let me know down below in the comments. And let me know in the comments how much you hate Google Stadia, but it turns out that not enough of you hate Stadia to not have it hit 1 million downloads over on the Google Store. That has happened, 1 million installations of Google Stadia. Part of this is probably due to the fact that they launched Stadia Base, which is free, and then a lot of people can just play PUBG for free. I'm also hearing that the game is free, even though they didn't make Destiny 2 free with the free version of Stadia. Who knows how this is working? I've given up on Stadia, and I've given up on this episode of Hot News. Let me know what your favorite thing was we talked about today down below in the comments. Let me know what you think of the RTX 30 series traversal coprocessor or anything else we talked about down below in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Get subscribed, stay up to date on all of our tech related content. Don't forget to come check us out over on our Twitch live streams, twitch.tv/UFDisciple. We do Hot News live over there. You can come interact and join. Glad to see you there. Bye.